Hi, everybody. Cleveland Browns halftime show with the score: the Cleveland Browns 31 and the Dallas Cowboys 14. This is the most perfect half of football that this football team can play based upon the personnel that we have, the system that we have in place. Everybody has done their job. With that said, the defense, especially linebacking and secondary, are weaknesses of this team. But in the last 2 weeks, we are overcoming that with turnovers. And believe me, we didn't stop, with the exception, I guess you could say, of the strip sack by Myles Garrett. We didn't stop Dak Prescott. He was throwing for 174 yards after one quarter of the game. What was stopping the Dallas Cowboys were mistakes and some heads-up ball hawking by the Cleveland Browns. One of the worst plays that I've seen, Sendejo letting his receiver run by him deep for a touchdown. He atoned for by ball hawking on a play in which maybe Ezekiel Elliott felt he was down on the play but had not touched down and had the ball literally taken out of his hands. The Cleveland Browns have done what they had to do in the way they've had to do it, and they've done it their own way. It's kind of like Frank Sinatra-ing to somebody to death, doing it my way. The Cleveland Browns have a good offensive line, folks. I hope Chubb is okay too, and I don't like when anyone gets rolled over. The best news would be either a slight knee sprain or a slight hyperextension, but they're not saying anything yet on the telecast, so I really don't know any more information than you folks know. What I can say is this: the offensive line is not only blocking for Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, but it's blocking for Dontrell Hilliard and Dearness Johnson. I mean, when you get chunk plays from running backs who are way down on the depth chart, it really helps your team, especially when Kaderil Hodge pulled a muscle during the warmups and you've got Rashard Higgins inactive. You need that extra running back to contribute. And you can't, with Kareem Hunt coming off of a groin injury, expect him to play that many downs. The fact that Dearness Johnson came in and got 50 yards for the Cleveland Browns is nothing short of amazing. Give the credit not only to Dearness Johnson, but to that offensive line. Wyatt Teller is playing his ass off in this scheme, folks. And I can't begin to tell you how surprised I am. With that said, there's a second half to be played. And you know, the problems that we have are many in our secondary. Whether the Sendejo play was a blown coverage and he thought somebody was going to help him out because there were three strong on his side, or whether he just drifted off into space, I really don't know. But we do know this: that the Dallas Cowboys cannot come out giving the ball to Ezekiel Elliott if he's not protecting the football, and that has been an ongoing problem, and Dak Prescott is going to have to throw the football. With that said, the Browns are going to have to figure out ways to get men into the passing zone. Taki had what should have been an interception had his body been positioned properly. There may be opportunities for more turnovers in the second half. But at this point, Dallas has to come out, and the Browns are coming out with their hands on the ball. I want to say something else about the final possession of the first half. That is the most composed and professional I've seen a Cleveland Browns football team look in a long time. And something about Baker Mayfield, for all the people who are saying really bad things about Baker Mayfield and saying that Minshew is a better quarterback, or saying that, Whistler's mother is a better quarterback. Once a quarterback buys into a system, he becomes more effective. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Baker Mayfield is Drew Brees. I'm not going to tell you that he's Dan Fouts, that he is a big yardage thrower. What I can say is this: he ran the offense down the field, kept them composed, used the timeouts, got us into field goal position. Parkey kicked the field goal. We got 3 more points on the board, knowing we were getting the ball back in the beginning of the second half of the game. And, we got the ball in the position of the field that we wanted the kicker to kick it from. We used the clock to our advantage, and we never let Dak Prescott get his hands back on the ball again before the end of the first half. And here you go. And the fact is that if you have a really prolific offensive line, folks, good running backs or really good running backs, and you have a quarterback who can throw with accuracy, which Baker Mayfield has the capacity to do. If you remove all of the Brett Favre instincts of, I got to make a big play, I got to do this myself, this is not enough, but take what the defense gives you and allow that running game to get you into the end zone. And that's exactly what has happened today. I mean, statistically speaking, it is nothing short, of amazing. If you take a look at the stats, Mayfield is 14 of 23. All right. That's about 60% completion of passes. He's thrown for 132 yards, which is short passing game, 2 touchdowns. Well, he's fit them in where he needed to fit them in. He has an 105.7 rating. Dak Prescott is 13 of 16, 197 yards, which is a 12.3 yard average with 2 TDs, no interceptions. He's been sacked twice. All right. And Mayfield has been technically sacked once when he ran back to the line of scrimmage, but not a pocket sack. But Prescott's rating is a 157.6. Now, you can't do much more than what Dak Prescott's doing, completing 80% of his passes. And he's still got almost 200 yards at the half. But once again, the running game is one man only, Ezekiel Elliott. He's averaging 5.8 yards per carry, but turning the ball over. And Dak Prescott responsible. Well, really, I can't say he's responsible when Myles Garrett is getting around his man and they're not blocking him. Nick Chubb at 43 yards, Kareem Hunt at 36 yards, Dearness Johnson at 52 yards. I mean, this is 164 yards of rushing by the Cleveland Browns in the first half of a football game. That's how you win, folks, if you're the Cleveland Browns. You don't pay attention to Baker Mayfield's, how many yards he throws for. And, this isn't a goddamn video game. The fact is, it's about winning and losing. Dallas's receivers, once again, as we talked about on Friday, Amari Cooper with 3 catches, Ezekiel Elliott out of the backfield with 3, Schultz with 1, Noah Brown with 1, Cedric Wilson for 1, and CeeDee Lamb with 3. He is spreading the ball around the field. But same thing could be said about Baker Mayfield. Odell Beckham having his biggest game of the year, 5 receptions, 81 yards, including a long of 37. Jarvis Landry has caught 4 passes. Austin Hooper has caught 4 passes, and Harrison Bryant has caught 2. So that's spreading it out to 4 different wide receivers. And what we talked about on Friday is the fact that the Browns were only throwing to 2 over the course of the beginning of this season. Myles Garrett has 3 total tackles, 2 solos, but 2 sacks, and therein lies a big part of this whole thing. It's a team effort. This is not something that is an individualistic thing. We're not letting Odell Beckham Jr. just, carry us away into fantasy land. We are playing grunt football in the trenches. I love it. I love seeing us push a team around. And, I'm not going to rip on Dontrell Hilliard, and I'm not going to rip on Dearness Johnson. The fact of the matter is, though, that there is running room for these backs to cut back and run, and that is part of Stefanski's. Yeah, isn't that great? That Daryl Johnson doesn't even know. It's Stefanski, and it's Batonio, not Batono. I mean, please prepare. If you're a professional goddamn announcer, please prepare the names you're going to be announcing. Goodness gracious. Nick Chubb will not return today. This coming from our Moohead radio source, Mogambi. Any word, Mogambi, on what they're saying it is? Have they defined the injury or not? I hope this is not something that is going to go on for a long period of time. He looked like he was walking better as he walked off the field. We can keep our fingers crossed and hope. But as far as the rest of things, you got to use Kareem Hunt judiciously coming off the groin injury, and you've got to use your backup backs. And we'll see if we can continue to do what we've been doing. This is the one thing that the professionalism of the team, it's night and day. And I think everybody now can see how much of a boho Freddie Kitchens was, because he's not a professional coach and he's never going to be a head coach again. It is a knee injury. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Not an ankle injury like they put up on the screen on Fox. And good for you. I am surprised you survived it. No, I'm kidding. If you can dance and do the Watusi, you can do the Parma polka too. And there's always the naysayers, right? There's always the naysayers, Baker is still not the answer. Well, he's the answer. The fact of the matter is winning is the answer. If you're looking for individual things, why don't you watch the NBA, or why don't you do something like that, or why don't you watch, professional wrestling if you want individual shit. Watch a singles match at the French Open, but this is football, and you've got to have everybody grinding together at the same time. This is the bottom line. We look composed and professional. We look like we have a game plan, and with the exception of game one this week, week one game this year, we look like we've gotten better, and our offensive execution is far better than it was to start the season. Now we have a chance to win this football game. You would say, oh, we have a great percentage chance, but the fact is we do have problems in our secondary. Joe Woods has not been able to have the kind of personnel that he's had elsewhere, so it's really kind of hard to tell. We're seeing the ball hawking, but we're kind of a step behind. Sendejo is a step behind. And we're seeing that our linebackers just don't drop very well, except passes. And, we've got to continue to maintain possession of the ball. The Dallas defense is going to be called upon because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is primarily stopping the run and forcing Baker Mayfield to beat them. That's what we come out to. That's what we're coming out to in the third quarter, with the ball in our hands and an opportunity to try to establish a long possession that at least will result in 3 points, hopefully 7. That's how you do it. You stomp on your opponent when they're down. You give them a death blow or a real near death blow in the third quarter coming out of the half to make them realize, looky here, this isn't going to get any easier for you. We're going to try to make it so you have to come back from 24 points behind, not just 17 points behind. All right, everybody, I'm going to be back after the game, I promise you, on the post-game show. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Go Browns. Let's hope for a good second half. Until after the game, hasta la vista, Pastorhead. See you afterwards.